Okay, today I would like to talk about the Dymo label writer 450 twin turbo, which is this over here. As you can see, this has this is capable of it's got this one here, this roll here, and this roll here for writing addresses for envelopes and your return address and postage stamps. I purchased this back in August of 2015, and I used to have one where you can only put one roll in it. I purchased that one back in July of 2004. This way, I have very poor penmanship, and it's barely legible for when I want to write down the name and address of where the mail is going to and the return address. After so many years of doing that, 11 years, I did some research and came across the label writer 450 twin turbo, and I purchased it originally. This way I can use it for mail, regular mail, and for packages. Now you're going to be seeing this here opening up. As you can see here, I'll print this up. When I press print, this here, it's for the return address. You can click this for X number of copies for the return address, and that's for the first one. As you can see over here, it's for the one on the left side. Now the one on the right side, you can choose either one, the left one or the right one, for printing these up. I've had it already set up for the left one, and then later on I had over here Endicia online. They used to be partners with Dymo at one time back in the day when I purchased this in August of 2015, and it had like a little program like this here, Dymo V8 here for the labels, and then this here is the launcher to launch it over here. You click on it and it launches this website. Now originally they were partners with Dymo here, and you were able to purchase like these regular stamps. Not regular stamps you get in the post office, but the ones that will be printed. Then back in the summer of 2019, they broke off their partnership with Dymo, and whatever rolls I had for making postage stamps wasn't going to be useful anymore, so I made several copies of it. Now the whole reason I would do this with Dymo and Endicia printing postage was because if I purchased 100 stamps from the post office, the rolls, within a matter of weeks after doing so, the post office had a nasty habit of raising the prices a few pennies. And I didn't know this until I got until after I mailed out a couple of my bills. Now what happened was they wouldn't deliver the bill to the addressee. They would return it to me for insufficient postage. And then when I would just get like $5 books of stamps, I end up running out in the middle of winter time, and I don't have a vehicle, and the closest post office is about 2.5 miles from my house. So when I would run out in the middle of winter time, I would have to scrounge around and look for a ride to go to the post office, or have somebody pick it up at the post office for me. Then I would give them the money for it. But when I made out my bills or mailed them out, there's a post office box here where I live inside the apartment building complex, where I pick up my mail and drop off any outgoing mail. Now, once in a while, I will mail out a package, which isn't too often. So I can print these up here for the return address, then print another one up for the addressee. Now over here, as you can see, mail, that orders for ordering stuff. Like over here, I have no orders waiting. And here are some of the products they have. Where I can add products of whatever I want. And here, as I click on this for contacts, where I have somebody's address down to be mailed out to them, I can have it printed out on the envelope, and also have the stamp printed directly on the envelope using my printer. And the problem with the printer is it uses up ink. And ink these days, as you well know, for the printers is very expensive. Over here will be the history reports, and over here will be like the supplies that you will order to get supplies. Like over here. And I didn't have the scale at the time, but this was the one I had originally. As you can see, this one here. And these are what the rolls look like over here. As you can see, original Netscape rolls, which I had to purchase because they weren't partners with Dymo anymore. I had the other rolls. Then I had to go out and purchase these. I haven't used the Netscape stamps yet, rolls, because I used up some of the rolls on the other one to create some stamps. Now this is a scale that I purchased, which is also Dymo. I purchased it back in September of 2018, and I have it connected to the computer. Now with this scale, it either powered on using the computer. It's got a dual power source, or It uses three AAA batteries. As you can see, either or. And when they were partners with Endicia was partners with Dymo, and this was connected to the computer. Let me go back here. Okay, now over here is where the pounds and the ounces that will be used. And when I was using the program that was off over here below this one here, the Dymo, I throw the letter on the scale and it will register how many pounds or how many ounces or both right here. And then I will select what service I would want, like a letter, postcard. As you can see here, large flat manila envelope, large envelope flat, a letter, or a postcard. You can see different prices there. Or if I try increasing the weight, as you can see, the letter is no longer 50 cents, it's 80 cents. And over here it's $1.40 instead of $1. So let's go back to where it says 1 ounce. And over here, now when you go to the store and purchase postage, it's 54 cents. Now, the reason over here it says 50 cents is because I already purchased the rolls on here for 4 cents, and this Dymo uses thermal printing instead of regular ink, so I don't have to keep replacing the ink for it all the time. It's 4 cents cheaper here because I already paid for the 4 cents for the cost of the postage. And over here, I just paid the additional 50 cents. Now, if the post office decides they want to raise their rates, so let's go over here, 50 cents. Okay. Now, as you can see over here, I can use this to purchase more postage. So it don't matter if I got purchased $15 worth or $50 worth. If the post office ever decides they want to raise their rates, this here will reflect the current postage rate minus 4 cents, because I'm doing it this way instead of using one of theirs. Now, over here, if I was to press print stamps, it will deduct the 50 cents from here. So this would say 371. I mean, let's see, $14.71 instead of $15.21. But if you feel uncomfortable printing this here for the actual postage, what you can do is press this here to make sure it works. This here is if you use a sheet on the printer. I have a Brother printer. So if I put a sheet like this with stamps, these squares indicate the stamps. 5 stamps across and 5 stamps going down. So it'll print up 25 stamps on here. So it'll be 25 times 50 cents. I'm not good at math. I'll let you figure that one out. But right now, I'm on. Oh yeah, make sure that over here you get the serial number off of those rolls I showed you. And you have to get the net stamps from them. You can probably get it off of eBay or directly from them. But let's go ahead and print a sample. Okay. The following fields are incomplete. Okay, now let's see. S89912. Okay. Okay, I just had to change this here from the sheets to this here. So you gotta make sure that it shows the rows in like this instead of the sheet. So, and here is the number of stamps you want to print. As you can see, these changed. This here was blank, except for the top one. Here, right now, I got 3, quantity of 3. Now I got the quantity of 2. This disappeared. And watch this one disappear when I go down to 1. Here, this would pop up. Now, remember I told you the left one is for printing this one up. And this gives you a choice for a left one or the right one. And the roll of stamps is on the right one, so I will make sure the one that's on the right is the one. Now, if you got the other one, which only put like one roll at a time in, then you wouldn't have to worry about this. But if you get the one that's twin, like this one here, see over here, recognized thermal printers. I like this better than the using the printer. See over here, I can print them up over here, which is my brother printer, but I prefer using this because this uses the thermal printer instead of using up my ink. And over here will be on the right side. Now I'm using the sample so as not to waste any money printing up a stamp which I don't need right now. Now, as you can see here, over here it says void. That means this stamp is no good because I was printing a sample. Now, if I went ahead and pressed this one here, the 50 cents would have been deducted from my balance here, and it would reflect a difference. And this, it will print up an actual stamp, which would be like this. And you just stick it on like you would a regular stamp. And I never have to worry about the increase in price over here, because at the time I print it, when I press print here, the current post office postage stamps will reflect over here minus 4 cents, because I'm printing it on these here instead of using the post office stamp, which is the same thing. Now, Endicia at one time got its original start when they were making programs for the post office. Now, the post office at the time that contracted out to Endicia wanted them to set up a program for the website so people could go to stamps.com to print up from their offices or homes. Now, they saw this as a new way for doing stamps online, especially like these, whether people are running a small business or like a small manufacturer or small deli store or small grocery store or a small factory or a big business like IBM. They could have been like mailing out letters or packages or whatever the case may be, spending anywhere from $10 to $100. So the post office wanted a way to set this up in such a way where these businesses can make these here, print it up for the customers that were handling large volumes of mail. Now, if you noticed, whenever you receive a letter, these here are printed directly onto the envelope itself, along with the postage printed directly on the envelope itself. So some businesses do away with this and this by having it directly printed onto the envelopes. Now, if you noticed on some packages, they got the huge labels with the postage directly on them, especially when you purchase stuff from Amazon or eBay or places like Macy's, Sears.com, Macy's.com, JCPenney's.com. You see the big, huge things, almost the size of this paper here, with the address, the return address up here, and your address here, and then postage over here. Me, because I don't run a business, and I got tired of getting caught with my pants down with no postage in stamps in the dead of winter, or buying 100 stamps just to have the postage raise their rates a few weeks after doing that. And with the convenience of Dymo, I can still use the Dymo label maker to print up these stamps as far as Endicia is concerned, but they're no longer partners, and so with Dymo, so I would have to use the netstamps. I have two of the old stamps left over from the old method when they were partners with Dymo. So in June, when I use those two to mail out my bills, I will have to start making new ones. Let's see. I think I got like 3 bills to mail out come June. And I got 2 stamps left, so I'll have to print one off of here and use the other 2. And I feel that this is more convenient for me. At the time, I had started doing this back in August 2015. They had two versions of it. The business type, which you had to pay for, and the free version type for people like me that uses less than $2 or $3 worth of stamps. And then they had the other one for the business for somebody that's using more than $10, $20 a month or more for the postage. So they had the business type, which they had to pay for $15 a month, I believe. I didn't see myself doing that because I was spending less than $3 a month on postage. So for me, it was worth the free version. So as of July of last year, when they switched over to Netscape, because they broke off with Dymo, I was still getting the free service. Because when I spoke to him about this changeover, the gentleman at Endicia, the operator, said he's going to waive the fees for me because I was with him for 4 years using the free service. Now, if you call up, you may or may not get the free service of spending less than $3 a month on stamps. It will be something you would have to call up and ask them. And if you're spending less than $3 a month on stamps, and you want to ensure that you always have enough stamps to go around, but you're afraid to spend more than a few dollars when you go to the post office on stamps because you're afraid they might raise their rates. With this, you don't have to worry about it because at the time you're printing it, it will reflect the current postage rate at the time you print it up. Well, I hope this has helped you decide as to whether or not you want to use the printing up your own postage stamps or continue going to the post office and getting them. For me, because it's like over 2.5 miles from my house, I don't want to be caught with my pants down with no postage stamps in the dead of winter. And I don't want to be buying a lot to avoid doing that, just to have them raise the rates. So I hope this has helped anyone out there to decide whether or not they want to get it and do it this way. Have a nice day and give me a thumbs up below.